What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another one. It's been a while. Had some family move back to Maui and I had to take down my YouTube studio. Right now I'm kind of just in a room downstairs, but I'm going to be rebuilding the studio soon. Also, I've had a cold and I'm doing a remodel, full kitchen, bath remodel. Oh, and I tweaked my knee. Anyways, sounds a lot like life. Not trying to make up excuses, but I've been wanting to make this video for a little while. So I recently built my first rod and I wanted to share some tips on what I'd recommend you do if you want to build your first rod, some things I did right and some things I did wrong. So let's get right to it. First thing I'd recommend, if you don't already have a kit, I'd recommend buying a kit. I got mine from Mudhole. Put the link below. It had everything you need: hand wrapper, epoxy, paste, burnishing tool, pretty much everything. And I used everything to build this rod. The only thing I didn't use was color preserver, but that's just because I used black threads. Anyways, I highly recommend it. It's cheaper than getting each thing individually and maybe not having what you need when it's time to build, but it came literally with everything I needed. Highly recommended. Number two is have a rod recipe. So Mudhole has these kits you can buy, and depending on what you want, whether it's inshore, freshwater, saltwater, fly, rod, whatever, it has the kit that comes with everything: reel seat, blank, guides, and it tells you where you should put the guides. It tells you where you should put the reel seat. So I highly recommend you get a rod recipe instead of just trying to guess. A thing you could do, if you have a rod that you really like and you get the same size blank, you could line it up and choose the same guides and the guide locations, assuming it's a similar action blank. I recommend going budget friendly for your first build. Don't go too crazy. There's no sense of getting the top level blank. You want something that's going to be functional. I got something that I love, teal, and I love blue. So I got something that was kind of like a seafoam green, kind of a teal look to it. It wasn't super expensive. My blank cost me 150 bucks and that included everything: reel seat, guides, and of course the blank. And I just like the way it looks. So I would say get something that's not going to be super expensive, but get something you're going to be stoked on. The reason I got into rod building is because I'm pretty basic when it comes to how I dress. I wear usually black. I got a black truck. But when it comes to my fishing rod, I like to have like my own style, keep it unique. And it's hard to find colors that you like. So I wanted to build my own, and that's why I did it. Choose something easy. I went with a one piece. It was a 7.3. Keep in mind, you can't break it down if you want to hike to spots, but 7.3 isn't that big. I went with one piece just because it was a little easier. I only had to find the spine on just one blank versus two pieces, which isn't hard anyways. And it just seemed easier to me. Again, if you hike a lot, you might want to consider getting a two piece. I already have several builds that I want to build in the future, probably a 9.0 two piece, but my first one was a one piece and it didn't have a whole lot of guides. I wanted to keep it simple. I recommend breaking this project into days. I wouldn't like put too much pressure on yourself thinking you need to do it in one day, because that would be impossible anyways, because there's drying times involved. For me, I broke it into days. The first day was find the spine. The second day was glue the reel seat. The third day was figure out where your guides are going to go, and so on and so forth. That kind of helped me stay organized, and it kept me from getting too frustrated or too overwhelmed. So break it up into days. I did film it as I went just because I wanted to kind of share with other new people. I wasn't trying to like teach anyone. I was just trying to show. And also I wanted to put the pressure on myself because I knew I put things off and I probably wouldn't have got it done unless I said, hey guys, I'm going to build a rod, watch me as I do it. So anyways, that was my thinking for filming it. If you're gonna film it, you might get frustrated because you're still trying to learn. So sometimes when the camera's on, it's easy to kind of feel a little bit extra pressure. If anything, maybe a time lapse would be better. That way it's just a little easier to watch in the future. I recommended the rod recipe earlier, but one thing that I did a little differently is once I got my blank in the mail, I taped my reel to the blank so I could, sorry if you're hearing some sounds. I have a niece that just moved in and she is upstairs playing. Don't blame her. But anyways, I taped the reel to my blank and I moved it around a little bit until it felt balanced. So I recommend doing that. I've got a 4000 reel on my rod and I just wanted to see how it felt. So I definitely recommend taping it before you glue your reel seat. Speaking of reel seats, it can be a little confusing. I noticed that a lot of the reel seats, the foregrips and the rear grips don't always kind of jive together. They don't always work well together. But I think it's the VVS or VSS split grip, and I'll show you what it looks like. It's really easy and I think it looks nice too. The thing I like about this is this goes on here and it's a really nice fit. So it kind of just slides right on and you glue it on and it's just super sleek looking, really nice foregrip. This one is the new TCH Fuji, and again, I already have plans for another build, but I really like this because again, a lot of the other ones, like you'll put your rail seat on and it doesn't butt up nicely. So I think they should sell more kits like this, but that's just my opinion. Speaking of handles, when it comes to putting your handles on, I recommend when you're using a reamer, I recommend using a drill because if you do it by hand, it's going to take you a long time. So use a drill, take your time, drill, turn, drill, turn, drill, turn. That way you get a nice circle. Otherwise it won't line up. Another thing is when you get all your guides, make sure you keep them separate in a little plastic bag. Also make sure your tip top fits before you start. For some reason, two things happened to me. Number one, I lost a guide. I think I was supposed to have 9 guides plus a tip top. Lost a guide, and it was really hard to find another one. And I was kind of freaked out. Found another one. And then my tip top, I didn't dry fit it and it was a little bit too big. So I made it work, but make sure your tip top's the right tip top before you start, and make sure you keep all of your guides separate until you're ready to install them. Make sure you have lots of paper towels and the isopropyl alcohol. That's going to be your friend for sure. You will kind of get some drips here and there when it comes to the paste or epoxy or glue, and that's going to make your life a lot easier. When it comes to starting your thread work, find out what works for you. I watch so many videos and it's easy to get this paralysis of analysis where you're just like, oh my gosh, it's so much information. Find out what works for you. I'm not sponsored by Mudhole, but they have a lot of good videos. I watched a lot of their videos. They kind of break it down and they keep it simple. They actually have steps. So if you go to their main website and look under videos, you're gonna see step by step. And I use their videos to help me. There's also a lot of other guys, but just know that there's so many different ways to build a rod, and that's kind of what I like. You can find out your own style. You're gonna find out what size thread. You're gonna find out how you get your threads to lock, and that was the hardest part for me. Also, when it comes to threads, I think I recommend starting with D. They're just a little bigger and my eyes aren't that great, so it's important that you can see. So I recommend D, and then maybe if you want to use A, use it on your trim bands. When it came to trim bands, I tried 2 different ways, but the straw nail knot method worked best for me. So I liked it that I could do it after the fact. When it came to putting on epoxy, don't stress the bubbles. Even if you measure it perfect 50-50, you stir it, it's the perfect temperature, there's a good chance you're gonna have some bubbles. But if you have a non-soot heat source, like it comes with the kit, works really well. The heat will get rid of those bubbles. Also, I recommend going light, 3 coats of light epoxy. It looked really good. You could probably get away with 2. One thing that I noticed when I put my decal on, I was kind of just putting it on like I would the thread, and it wasn't turning out very good, and I was kind of stressed. Finally, I got a little frustrated. I put on my 2nd or 3rd coat of on the decal, I put a lot on, and I just let it kind of do its thing and level out, and it looked really good. So when it comes to like large areas of the decal, instead of thinking about brushing it off, you really want to kind of get it on there. Make sure you get plenty on there and then let it do its thing. So don't be afraid to use more epoxy on the decals. So I have some fun builds coming up. I already ordered 2 different blanks, so I am so excited to get into rod building. I don't consider myself a rod builder, but it's definitely a hobby that I'm picking up, and I'm excited. I think you guys should try it too. I don't think it's ever too late. If anything, buy the kit. You'll be able to fix your rod and or your friend's rod, because you will break a guide or a rod at some point, If not, it's just really cool to learn something new. It's good for your brain. And yeah, I highly recommend it. If I can do it, you could definitely do it. So I have some fun videos coming up. Again, new YouTube studio is gonna come probably early next year. I have some really fun ideas. I think you guys are gonna like it. Let me know if you have any questions or comments about rod building. I hope you guys learned something from this. Guys, we just hit 1,500 subscribers and I am so grateful. Thank you guys so much. I'm excited to continue to build this channel. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much. Take care. Tight lines and tight threads.